In this video, we will look at the movie magic of Alfred Hitchcock. The mastery of skill displayed in the movie Psycho truly shows the magic that Hitchcock possessed. We will conduct a deep dive into two particular scenes to show how he draws us, the audience, into the story with the use of clever camera angles and editing. In Psycho, we follow the supposed protagonist Marion Crane as she runs from a crime, only for her to die halfway through the movie, something that had never been done before. This left us, the audience, alone with her psychotic killer, Norman Bates. It could be argued that the motive behind us witnessing Marion's murder so early in the movie is to play with the belief that Hitchcock held when it came to voyeurism. Hitchcock famously said to Truffaut, "I'll bet you that 9 out of 10 people, if they see a woman across the courtyard undressing for bed, or even a man pottering about in his room, will stay and look. No one turns away and says, 'It's none of my business.' They could pull down their blinds, but they never do. They stand there and look out." We, the audience, sit there and watch Marion be murdered and do nothing to stop it. We don't turn away, and Hitchcock knew we wouldn't. This leads us to our first scene, which Aimee will discuss.
Maria and I have taken a look into voyeurism, in particular in Hitchcock's Psycho. On multiple occasions throughout the film, this theme is prominent, some more obvious than others. A lesser known example of this in Psycho would be the opening scene. A dramatic opening shot of the film starts high over Phoenix and then sweeps down to a window and then moves in, where you see Marion, the female protagonist, half dressed after having sex with her boyfriend, engulfed in what is known as the male gaze. Marion, in the first time she is seen on screen, is an analytic object of desire, someone you stare at lustfully without knowing, so in this sense, it's you who is guilty first. Moving to look at a more well-known example of voyeurism is what we call the peephole scene. After Norman and Marion have dinner, Marion goes back to her cabin and Norman removes a picture from the wall of the office. Behind said picture is a peephole. Norman looks through it and you see a POV shot, as if you are Norman looking through the peephole of Marion undressing. The camera then cuts to an extreme close-up of Norman's eye, staring intently at the illuminated ragged hole. Norman's eye here also acts as you, the viewer's eye. He is looking excitedly at Marion undressing just as you are, seemingly as if you and Norman are watching together, therefore putting you in his place, desiring Marion. This somewhat indicates that the camera is realistically the true voyeur, but by arranging you, the viewer, in a way that the audience takes the camera's surveillance, this puts the viewer in the position of the voyeur.
We will now look at the famous shower scene, which lasted a total of 45 seconds but had 78 camera setups and 52 cuts. At first, there is no sign she is in harm's way, but now that she is naked, she is at her most vulnerable, and as we, the audience, watch, we feel this vulnerability too. She relaxes just as we should, but we can't. The sound design in this moment is minimal, as we only hear the running water of the shower. The camera is close, which gives a false sense of privacy for the character, but also gives us a sense of intimacy to the scene, as we are closer than we should be, almost like we are in the shower with her. Are we just as vulnerable as her? In the next shot, the door opens and a shadow appears. At first it appears to be Norman. We, the audience, feel fear, but Marion is oblivious, deafened by the sound of the water. The next shot of the knife raised is accompanied by the jarring staccato soundtrack. This music warns us of exactly what is to come, as each beat is then matched by each slash of the knife. The piece of music is called The Murder. It is frantic in nature and symbolizes the panic the character feels. In the final shot, the camera mirrors the movement of the water and blood going down the drain, as we see the last flicker of life in her eyes. The camera then lingers on Marion and we see the tears she was unable to cry. They did 26 takes of the spinning shot emerging from Marion's eye. When the camera spins out of the plug hole, dissolving to the eye of Marion, which is also spinning, you see an optical shot. The camera pulls back with the optical returning to a regular frame rate of 24, and you see her eyes shake slightly. That is a detailed breakdown of the scene, but there was interesting elements behind the scenes that helped make this scene. You think you see the knife penetrate skin, but this shot was filmed in reverse. The knife itself never goes in, but when we watch it in reverse, we see the tip of the knife on the skin with blood on the end. That's as close as it ever gets, but it is believable to us, the audience. This itself was also clever, as Hitchcock used this to bypass the censors. That concludes this video, which looked at the movie magic of Alfred Hitchcock and his film Psycho.